You make noise, doesn't matter. Okay, so you guys, I got like 3 x's, so it's x to the third, and then you just look in front, and it's positive. So what do the arrows look like for x to the third positive? So you go to odd, positive. Yeah, but x to the third is odd. Down to up. So it would go. So there's going to be like a line, it'll say like A, and it'll say like, what are the arrows look like? So the arrows are going to go, just write it like that. Okay? And then there's going to be a line that says like B, what are the X-intercepts? Okay, guys, the X-intercepts are the opposite of each of these. So it's going to be -4, +1, +5. Okay, so don't forget to do the opposite when you're writing your intercepts. And then the last thing it's going to ask you for is, okay, what is the Y-intercept? Remember how to get that? You plug in 0. So if I put a 0 wherever I see an X, I basically have 4 times -1 times -5. Okay? So I'm going to write that up here too. All right, let's write it down here. Y-intercept is plug in 0. All right, you guys remember doing all those things? And then we just draw it, okay? So here's how you're going to draw it. I'll have like better graphs for you on the test that are all labeled and stuff like that. But so basically you're going to go to -4, put a dot there, 1 and 5. Your arrows, we said we're going to go from down to up. And then the y-intercept is just another point on the graph. And so when I multiply all those out, what do I get for my y-intercept? 20. So it'll be like, you know, there'll be a point up there. I made sure everything will fit on the graph. And then you just draw it. So this one's just like cross, cross, cross. Okay, makes sense? So all the information that you're going to need is going to be up there on the board for you. A little bit smaller. All right? Yeah, you can kind of go however, like as long as I see you go through all those points, it doesn't matter if you drew it like that or something, like it's all good. Okay, so let's go ahead and do arrows on number 2. Okay, how many X's are there total? So here's 2, and here's 1. So how many X's is that? That's 5. And it's positive. So my arrows, again, it's going to be odd positive. You can look at your chart. My arrows are going to go down to up. Okay? So write that on the line. My X-intercepts are going to be opposite, opposite, opposite. So it'll be -2, 1, and -3. -2, -3, 1. All right. And then my y-intercept, when I plug in 0. Okay, now you got to pay attention to like the squareds and stuff. What's 0 plus 2 squared? What is that? 0 plus 2 squared? 4. Right. And then 0 minus 1 squared? -1 squared is 1. And then 0 plus 3. So this one has a y-intercept at 12. All right, my arrows go down to up. Now, the thing that you got to be careful on is crossing or bouncing, okay? So look, you look at the board. Anything that has a squared on it, you guys, I need to bounce right there. So I probably should have put here, like I'm bouncing at the -2, and I'm bouncing at the 1. So that's bounce, that's bounce, that's cross. All right? And then it's all awesome because we cross through there. Doesn't matter how high you go. Bounce on that one, bounce on that one, and then just keep going. Okay? So graphs don't have to be perfect. I'm basically just looking for crossing or bouncing. That's it. All right, and then let's see here. Yeah, when you see, so these exponents are going to tell you how they cross, and the exponents tell you like this stuff up here, whether it crosses, bounces, or what does a squiggly cross. Okay? Okay, so now for this one, this actually has 4 x's. You guys see that? Because it's x to the third and x, so it's a total of 4. And it's negative, because there's a -3 in front. So negative even goes down, down. Okay, so those are my arrows. Okay, my x-intercepts are the opposite and the opposite. But I got to write the multiplicity on here, okay? All right, so the way that you do multiplicity, and like you can write bounce or times 2 or whatever. Okay, this one is normal, but this one is 3. So this one has a multiplicity of 1 because it's normal, multiplicity of 3. Yeah, you can do that too. Yeah, if you'd rather write that out 3 times, you can. And then just remind yourself that this one, call it a flat cross or a squiggly cross or whatever. Remind yourself that it's going to do that. Okay. And then, let's see, that's my x-intercept. And then y-intercept. That's the only time where you really have to do anything with the -3 is on the y-intercept, because it's like, I have to use that number. And then 0 minus 2 is that number. And then 0 plus 1 to the third is that number. So I end up getting -3 times -2 times 1. So my y-intercept is 6. Okay, my arrows go down, down. And then I just connect everything, right? So don't forget, there's a normal cross, that's a squiggly cross. So we come up, we go, and do like a squiggly cross, go through there, and then match back up to that. Okay? With all the information on the board, do you guys think that you're okay with that? Yeah? Everybody's cool? Okay. You'll have a little bit more room and nice graphs on the test to do it stuff. All right? Okay, now let's go down to these. I want you guys to try, knowing what we just did, see if you can write equations. I'm going to give you guys a minute to try to write equations. Let me show you where they're going through. But basically what you want to do, make the parentheses, decide what that number is, do the opposite. Decide what that number is, do the opposite, right? Wherever it crosses. And then if it bounces, you would just have to square it, okay? It's a little hard to see, so I'll write it for you, but that one goes through -4, it goes through 2 and 3. That one bounces at -1 and goes through 5. And then that one does like a flat cross thing at -2 and it goes through 3. All right? Let me give you guys a second to see if you can write equations for that. So the first thing you're going to look at, you're basically doing everything backwards. You're going to say, okay, -4 came from x plus 4. +2 came from x minus 2. And then +3 came from x minus 3. Do that first. Then decide if any of them are bouncing or whatever. These are all crossing, so I'm fine. And then the only other thing that I need you to do is check the arrows. And as long as, like, this is going down, up, right? Down, up means it's positive. So you don't have to write the positive sign, but just check the arrows and make sure that you're good. Okay? All you have to check is whether it's positive or negative. I'm not going to make there be numbers in front or anything. So this one, same thing. So opposite of 1 is x plus 1. Opposite of 5 is x minus 5. Because this one bounces, I'm squaring that, and I'm leaving that like normal. But notice the arrows, right? Yeah, so if it goes up to down, I'm just going to put a negative in front of there. So just check whether it's positive or negative. All right, and then for the last one, the opposite of -2 is x plus 2. The opposite of 3 is x minus 3. This one does a little squiggly cross thing, right? So what am I going to put on here? Right. Exactly. And this one just crosses normal. And because the arrows are going up, up, it's just positive. Okay? Does that seem like pretty straightforward? Okay, nice. All right. then we're basically just, the rest of it is just synthetic division. And that's it. That's the entire test, you guys. So it's going to be, it really is something I'm trying to give you to give everyone's grades a little boost right before the end, okay? Okay, so check it out. I'll show you how to do 7, and then I want you to try 8, 9, and 10. Okay, the most important thing is on synthetic division, take the opposite of that number, and then all of those numbers. When it's in parentheses. Now, if it's just like this, you don't take the opposite, you just use those. But if it's in parentheses with the X, you got to do the opposite, okay? I'll remind you of that on Tuesday when we test it. So I'm going to do the opposite. Now, here's my synthetic division. Bring that down. 1 times 4 is 4, so that's -7. -7 times 4 is -28, so that's -3. And -3 times 4 is -12, so that's 0. Here's how you write your answer on the answer line, okay? If this is 3, I'm going to go down 1 from x to the third to x squared. So it goes 1x squared minus 7x minus 3. This one does not have a remainder, so I'm fine. But if you do, you put your remainder over the thing you were dividing by, like that. So since this one's 0, I don't have to put it. But if you have a remainder, you put the remainder over the thing you were originally dividing by. Okay? So I'm going to give you a minute to try 8, 9, and 10. That shouldn't take you too long, and see if you guys get these right. Okay, so for number 8, you're going to use +5. If your numbers get too big, like if they're starting to get up into the hundreds or even like in the 50s or something, you probably did something wrong. So check, usually it's positive or negative sign, try to check that. Okay, 5 times 5 is 25, that's 8. 8 times 5 is 40, that's -2. -2 times 5 is -10, that's 7. So the way I write this is it started as an x to the third, so I'm going to go 5x squared plus 8x minus 2, and then the remainder is 7 over x minus 5. Okay? Did you guys get that? Are these pretty easy? Okay, good. +7 means I'm going to do -7 when I divide this. 1 times -7 is -7, that's 4. That's -28, that's -3. That's +21, and that's 0. So there's another one that has no remainder, so it's x squared plus 4x minus 3. All right, always writing the one that's like 1 less than that. Okay, and then we have x plus 2, which is -2. Okay, 9 times 2 is -18, so that's -5. -5 times 2 is +10, so that's 7. 7 times 2 is -14, so that's -3. Sorry if I'm going fast. I will try to slow it down. Okay, so here's what I get. 9x squared minus 5x plus 7, and then the remainder over the thing I was dividing by, which on this one was x plus 2. Okay, the last part, these are yes or no questions. You do have to show your work, but I'm going to give you an equation. I'm going to give you a bunch of numbers and ask you if they're solutions or not, okay? So here's how you do it. Basically, once you do synthetic division, and you guys know how you get this remainder at the end right here, here's how it goes. If your remainder is 0, yes, it's a solution. If your remainder is any other number than 0, it's not a solution, okay? Remainder of 0 means it divides evenly, means it's a solution. So this one also, you do not change the x's. So like if it's 1, I'm going to use 1. 2 times 1 is 2, that's -5. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5, that's 2. 2 times 1 is 2, that's 0. So then the answer for this one is yes, negative 1 is a solution. You can just put yes, because I got 0. Okay? So test out the other ones and see if you find any other solutions in there. Okay, so when I tested negative 1 to these same numbers, I get 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, that's negative 9. Negative 9 times negative 1 is 9, that's 16. Even if you can tell it's not going to work, just finish it out because I'm going to grade it based on what your remainder is. So 16 times negative 1 is negative 16, so that's negative 18. So then I'd look at that and say no. And then for 2, I'd not give myself a lot of room here. 2 times 2 is 4, that's negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, that's 1. 1 times 2 is 2, and that's 0. So 2 does work. And then we just try negative 2. So 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. That's negative 11. That's 22. That's 29. Again, even if it's not working, just finish it. 58. So that's going to be negative 58 and negative 60. So then, no, that's not a solution. And that's it. That'll be your whole test, okay?